Ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, this is Christian Hannah Horror, and I want to welcome everybody to the trial of Pizowell. Now, this is the long-awaited round two interview that I have. He's a hard man to track down. Pizowell is busier than a bee. Is that right, Pizowell?
Yeah, that's a pretty apt analogy.
That's a pretty yeah. So, guys, we're gonna get going. We'll wait a minute or so for people to start getting in here. But I've known Pizzow for a very long time. He has been a YouTuber that basically was the guy that got me to say, "Hey, I think I can do this." So, first of all, Piz, it's an honor to have you here with me again, and it's been fun. It's been fun getting to know you and become. I think I'm friends with you. I mean, is that safe to say I'm somewhat friends with you now?
Friends may be a bit extreme.
That's fair. That's fair.
Acquaintances. If I passed you on the street, I might nod politely, but that would probably be it.
Okay. All right. So here we go, guys. We're gonna get going with this. Guys, this interview is gonna be about topics about YouTube and what's going on in the world right now. And I'm just gonna pick Pizzow's brain. So we're gonna get
There,
going.
there's
So
not a
Piz,
lot there. There's not a lot there. So good luck.
here we go, guys. All right, Piz. Let's talk about. I want to talk about. Get your thoughts on basically YouTube now in 2020. We've obviously gone through multiple ups and downs. Fear of losing money through monetization with people. We had just this latest thing about the can't advertise to kids. At what point do you think we maybe you just start becoming numb to all this stuff and just keep trucking through it? What do you think will happen with YouTube in the future? Do you think we're safe in the long term? What are your thoughts on everything that's happened and so forth?
Uh, I mean, YouTube is an ever changing um, thing. I mean, their terms of service today could be greatly changed tomorrow, and I mean, I think it's a really strange platform because you it's a really good question. It's multifaceted.
I know.
And I mean, I think YouTube is going to be here for a long time because even though Google says that YouTube doesn't make them any money, I mean it's the biggest. I mean YouTube is so big these days. People don't watch network television anymore. They watch YouTube. They get their news from YouTube. They get their sports coverage from YouTube. They get a lot of their entertainment from YouTube. Um, so it's the platform's not going anywhere. The platform has become far more restrictive over the years than it used to be as far as free speech is concerned and politics are concerned. And I mean, YouTube can pretty much do whatever they want these days because there is no competition. There is no, there's no WCW to YouTube's WWE.
Right, right, right.
Um, so I mean, it's an awesome platform. I love YouTube. Sometimes the politics and the restrictions are a little, you know, disheartening. But overall, I mean, I love the platform because we can do things like this.
Right. Do you think at this point there can ever be competition to YouTube in what we do? Because it seems like it's more than almost the WWE. It's almost like I don't know. It's just it's like you said. It's everything.
No, not in the immediate future. I mean, unless a huge company like I don't know Amazon launches their own, you know, platform like this, maybe, but they'd have to build in a monetization platform or a monetization design, and I, you know, I don't see it happening anytime in the near future. To be honest, I mean, there's been platforms that have tried and they failed
Right.
quickly. And there are other platforms like BitChute available now, and there's a couple of others, but they're they're just running so kind of under the radar. I mean, they can't compete with YouTube. The closest competition to YouTube now would be Twitch, but Twitch is very centered on gaming and streaming gaming footage and stuff like that. They're very much a streaming platform.
Right. And would
But
you say that's probably why they're successful? Because they realize we're not gonna mess with the giant. We're not gonna poke them with a stick. We're gonna side shoot them and try to be a companion. Because don't you do both at the same time now? You
yeah,
stream, and that seems to be a common thing. I noticed it seems like a lot of people are doing that, especially when I see live streams and they have all their cool the artwork around their videos. They'll have their Twitch logo, and I'm like, oh, so they're Twitch streaming as well.
yeah.
So
There's a great little it's called restream.io, and basically it allows you to stream to multiple platforms at the same time: YouTube, Twitch, Facebook. I mean, you name it, and it's really handy. I mentioned Amazon earlier. Amazon owns Twitch, so that's part of the reason why Twitch is so big.
okay.
And yeah, I mean they've cornered the market on streaming and gaming, whereas YouTube is good with streaming, and they're second tier now when it comes to gameplay footage and streaming video games and stuff. They've definitely taken a backseat to Twitch.
I see. I see. Real quick, hi to everybody in the chat. This is the trial of Pizowell, talking all things random, and we're glad to have you here. So, Piz, have you ever had moments in your YouTube career where you almost got close to quitting? Did you ever just say, I'm sick of dealing with this, I'm sick of dealing with that? Or did Patreon kind of come in and kind of help a lot of that? Because there's no denying, we all want to try to make a few bucks off YouTube, but I don't think it's a problem to say, sure, we all want to try to monetize, right? We all want to try to make some money. I don't know if you've had issues with demonetization over the last couple of years. I've been safe, luckily, because I use my own music and things like that. But have you ever had moments where it's just like, you know what, I'm getting sick of this?
I've never had the closest I ever came to, and it wasn't quitting. I was just very disillusioned with the platform because, and anybody who's had any issues with YouTube and you've tried to reach out to someone within YouTube to get assistance, that's just a complete, it's all completely automated by, what I mean, the
Right.
almighty algorithm, and you just can't get a hold of anybody. I had an issue where my whole channel basically just disappeared one day. I woke up to a bunch of messages saying, dude, what happened to your channel? And I jumped on, I checked my Gmail, and my Gmail said that there was a video that had been flagged for spam. And it was a movie review. No spam in the video. I didn't spam the video anywhere.
You weren't eating any while you were doing the video.
Wasn't
either, right?
eating any spam while I was making the video, no. And at the time, I was actually partnered with a Maker Studios, a multi-channel network. And part of the reason why people wanted to partner with those multi-channel networks is because you had someone that you had a representative from the multi-channel network who had a direct line to someone within YouTube. So they sort of advocated for you. And I got no straight answers out of YouTube, out of my representative at the multi-channel network. I had no idea what happened to my channel. Just one day it came back like that. And how I found out that it came back was I got a message saying, "Hey, I saw your channel's back." So I got nothing from YouTube saying, "Well, here's what happened, and we apologize." The representative from Maker Studios was just like, "I don't know, it's back. Be glad that it's back." So that was
Wow.
very disheartening and disillusioning. As far as demonetization, when the first adpocalypse happened, they were very hardcore on everybody. And I guess it was just certain keywords that would hit you with a demonetization. I remember I had one video of me and my brother walking around in a cornfield. Just the two of us walking around in a cornfield, and YouTube demonetized it. And I remember, it was just such a safe video but it was demonetized.
Wow.
And I think there were a lot of videos if you had horror in the tags, or if you were if massacre was in the tags or in the title, or just it was very, very, very restrictive there for a long time. It's gotten a lot better lately, or it's been a lot better for the past year or so. I've not had anything demonetized it since then, so I mean that's good.
Yeah, it seems like we got to figure out through trial and error how to get through the tumbleweeds of avoiding that kind of things too, just from making videos, I would say, right? And figuring
Yeah.
out what's going to set off the beast.
Well, and the bad thing about it was the first time the apocalypse happened, it was because PewDiePie dropped the N word. PewDiePie was fine. It was all of us other channels that had to suffer through that. And then the
Right.
second apocalypse was when I don't remember if it was Jake Paul or the other Paul went for a stroll through the Japanese suicide forest and shot a video of a fresh suicide and
Right.
basically just made fun of it the whole time. Of course, nothing really happened to them or to him or his channel. It was all the rest of us that had to suffer through it.
I remember that. That
So
one was,
hopefully,
yeah.
no other big YouTubers do anything stupid anytime in the near
Oh,
future that the rest of
fingers
us have to suffer
crossed.
for. Yeah.
Fingers crossed. So let's move on, Piz. This is a question I know that everybody watching is interested in, especially me. And I wanted to ask you about this, but I wanted to wait till we could formally do this. What's up with this mask making thing? This has really seemed to take form with you, and it's really impressive. The pics of these hockey masks you're posting on Instagram and stuff, I've purchased from you. I have another one purchased from you. Tell me where this started. How did this come about, man?
Um, I I don't know. One day I just thought it might be cool to try and start painting hockey masks, and watched a bunch of tutorial videos on YouTube. Bought a bunch of cheap, blank hockey masks from China and some acrylic paints, and just dove in. It I've painted a ton of masks, and um, I don't know. It's just cool. It's a great sort of creative, great way to feel creative, and it's kind of stress relieving too, because when you're focused on the mask, I mean that's all that you're focused on is weathering it and making it look nice and nasty, and everything else just kind of goes away. So it's a great stress relieving kind of exercise too, really. But it's fun, it's creative, and it's a good stress reliever. Those are the main reasons why I do it.
So how was it your very first time painting? Was it a disaster? Did
I'm
it come
trying
out
to
pretty good?
I'm trying to think what the very first mask was I painted. I've actually still got it. I remember I put the chevrons on backwards. I had the regular part 3 red chevrons, and for some reason I put them on upside down, like the part 5 blue chevrons.
Right.
And I was like, wait a minute, what did I do? That's like such a rookie. Like, I know better than that. But I was just so into the mask that like it didn't even snap that I was messing them up. But I would say probably, oh man, I probably painted. I painted a lot of masks before I finally was like, oh wait a minute, I'm actually kind of proud of this one. I like this one. I've actually got it hanging back on my wall still. But I don't know. I just enjoy it. I've slowed down a lot, but I still paint, one or two every couple of months, and I'm fortunate enough that people will contact me and ask me to paint them one, and it's cool.
So what's the plans with this? Is there no plan? Because it seems like now you're becoming a man in demand. I'm seeing people say, "Hey, I just got this from Pizowell, this hockey mask, and the word's spreading. Man, you're gonna get yourself in a storm of this before too long." Is it a plan I guess make this a side business for you to do these hockey masks?
This may be one of my greatest flaws. I really don't make plans. I'm kind of like the Joker. I just do things. Um, like the YouTube channel. I put absolutely no thought into this channel when I started it back in 2009. I just thought it looks like fun. I'm going to do it, and let's see what happens. And all these years later, and 40 something thousand subscribers later, I'm still here and doing my thing. So I mean, the mask thing is cool. I mean, if people want a mask, by all means, contact me, and we'll work out a deal, and I'll paint you a mask. I'm not necessarily trying to start a new business or anything, but it's just something fun on the way that I'm going to try my hand at painting and weathering and trying to make it look nice and nasty. So I don't know. We'll see how that turns out. To do the Myers masks really justice, I mean, you kind of need to have a paint, what's it called? Sprayer thing. What's it? Oh gosh, what's it called?
Like airbrush.
An airbrush, yes. Well, I don't know why I couldn't think of that. Airbrushes really do well with on the hockey on the Myers mask. But I'm just going to try it with just some acrylics and see what happens. And I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Which Jason, real quick, I want to say thank you, Phil Scrooby Viz, for that super chat. Very much appreciated. It says love both your channels. Keep up the great work. Thank you so much.
Very cool. Thanks,
yeah, it's a great guy, Phil. Y'all check out Phil's channel. Excellent guy from Canada. I love those Canadians.
A lot of horror fans up in
I think
Canada.
Jill, the horror ghoul. She's also a lovely Canadian. So, Piz, real quick, before we get off of that, I got to ask, what was the most challenging hawk to do in terms of, like, just getting that rough weathered look? Maybe the 7, maybe the X? I don't know if you've done an X.
Yeah, I've done several X's. I've done several 7s. Really, honestly, the one that's been the most difficult for me to do is the remake. So it's going to be a challenge doing your remake mask.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah. But I've only done, I think, 2 remake masks in the past. So I don't know if that's not a popular choice or what, but that one was challenging both times because there's a lot of different layers on the remake mask. So.
All right. Excellent. Thank you as well, Jill, for the $5 super chat. That's very much appreciated, guys. Y'all really don't have to.
The 3s are also a little difficult because I mean, I really like to get down to the detail in the 3s because there's so many little scratches and marks on the 3s, and I try to get them as close as possible, and those can be time consuming.
Man. Well, that's awesome, man. It's really cool to see that you got into that. And I just knew for some reason when you got into it, you were going to kill it. It just seems like whatever you kind of put your mind to, man, you go for it.
Oh, thank you.
All right, Piz, this is going to be maybe a challenging question for you, but I want to go here.
Sure.
I want to talk about the responsibilities of being a larger YouTuber, especially in the horror community. I dare say that the horror community is one of the most judgmental sections of any community on the planet. And I want to know, at what point do you ever feel like you have to curb your honest opinion on things as opposed to always just saying exactly what is on your mind? I want to go back to a moment in your past on your channel. I remember when John Carpenter was officially announced as the executive producer of Halloween, when they were going to make the new Halloween. And I had been an avid watcher of you since then. And you basically made a video saying, "I'll see it when I believe it." And you kind of got some flack from that from people who were just upset that you said that. And I remember I was like, what was inspiring was how you just say, "Hey, I want it to happen, but I got to be honest with myself." Do you ever feel the need to check yourself before you really say what you're about to say on videos, on topics about movies that maybe are fan favorites, but you just don't feel, or just topics such as the John Carpenter thing? Where do you find the level of curbing your honest truth and making sure you don't anger a lot of ridiculous horror fans?
Well, it's interesting because on stream, I mean, I don't have that I don't have the benefit of editing on stream. So I mean, I've said things on stream that I think are kind of maybe mean, but honest. I was doing a video. I forget what movie I was reviewing, but it was a bad movie. And I said mean things about the movie. They were true, but they were mean. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to go that route. So I cut those sections out of the review. So I mean, I don't want to. I want to be real about it, but I mean, I don't want to be mean. I don't want to make, you know what I mean. Ultimately, it's just a movie. So I mean, does that make sense? I want to be real. I want to give my honest opinion, but at the same time, I don't want to be mean. I don't want to, necessarily speak ill of anybody.
So basically, what you're saying is there's also a way to express you don't enjoy something as opposed to you're stupid if you watch this kind
Yeah,
of mentality that we see.
yeah, and I think actually one of the things I said in the review was like, this movie's just stupid, and then I thought to myself, stupid's not a good word, and that would, and there are people out there who love even horrible movies. And God knows, I mean, I love a lot of horrible, awful, god awful movies. But to say that, oh, the movie's stupid, that almost makes it sound like, well, if you like this movie, then you're stupid. So there's a much better way to say it than, yeah, this movie's stupid. You know what I mean? Or,
Yeah.
Something to that effect.
It was interesting though because with the example I brought up, you did not say anything vindictive. I thought you basically just said, you know what, I understand how John is. You know, he likes to get his money.
Right.
Him getting executive producer to me just means he's getting another paycheck. So I don't foresee any real involvement. Now, obviously, we know he did the music and stuff, but it was just interesting how I remember some people were upset with you just for saying, I'll basically, I'll see it when I believe it. Did that instance, if you can remember that time, which I'm sure you can, did that instance kind of curb you to say, wow, maybe I got to just always toe the line with these people because they can be they can be vindictive to me.
No, no, I mean, not really. Because I mean, really, I mean, and I don't remember the exact sort of content. Like if I'll believe it when I see the movie, or if I'll believe it when the movie's actually being
I'm
made.
paraphrasing.
I don't. Yeah, I don't necessarily remember that. But I mean, that's the same way I feel about. I mean, a lot of things. All the the new Candyman movie, the new, all the Hellraiser projects that are in the works. I mean, it's not that I'll believe it when I see it. These days, it's more like I just can't get excited about them.
Right.
So I'm just kind of meh when it comes to that kind of stuff.
So do you find that? Go ahead.
And I know there's a lot of people out there who are super excited for Candyman, and they're super excited for Halloween Kills, and I mean, that's great. I think that's awesome. But for me, I mean, I'm just kind of like, I'll watch them, and I hope for the best, but I just can't get excited.
Right. So do you find yourself just keeping quiet on more things that you're not excited about these days?
No, not necessarily. I mean, I don't want to edit myself to the point where I'm trying to, toe the line and not offend anybody, because you're always going to offend somebody with your review. Because again, the worst movie imaginable, there's somebody out there who likes it. But if you present your review as to, well, this is why I don't like it, and this is why I think it's bad, then most people will be like, oh, okay, that's fair enough. But I think when you, like, if you just, oh, this movie's stupid, then you might get a little feedback, a little negative feedback there. But there's always, I remember you and I had a conversation not long ago where you were talking about trolls and people who just thumb down your videos just to thumb them down. And I don't remember my exact advice to you, but to me, that means, hey, you're reaching people and you're having an effect on people. That's not a bad thing. YouTube doesn't look at thumbs downs as a bad thing. They just look at the overall fact that people are rating your videos. So they don't count necessarily a thumbs down against you. They just say, oh, people are, this video's causing a debate. This video's getting a lot of, feedback. That's a good thing. That's good for the algorithm.
And I think that's real. What you just said is really important because, we all, I think at one point a lot of us will fall victim to getting aggravated at, the trolls. I'm sure, Piz, you've had it as probably tenfold what I've had. You upload a video, within 5 seconds, you pull it up, dislike. It's like, wow, I didn't think there's no way my intro finished. But I think what you said is really important. for a lot of people listening to this live and after the fact that it's true. It's the interactions that YouTube likes to see. It's the involvement, positive or negative, because God knows, Piz, I'm sure you've clicked on multiple million view videos that had a ton of thumbs down. I'm sure, if you pulled up a Justin Bieber video right now, there's probably more thumbs down than there are.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So I think that's very important. And it was good to hear when I reached out to you. It was good to hear you say, basically like, welcome to the club, brother, but don't let it bother you. So first of all, I don't want to skip him. Jay the Stingray, thank you for this. Thank you for the $6.66 super chat. That's very much appreciative. All right, Piz, let me ask you. Yeah, let me ask you the dreaded question, man, because I know that in what you do on YouTube and what I do on YouTube and what so much of us do, it's always the conversation of what's going to happen with all the movies you see behind me, all the movies that are behind you, the streaming and physical. And I don't want to make this question too long-winded, because me and you have kind of talked about this on the show, but I think for the people that have never seen the Sausage Factory, it'd be nice for them to hear. What are your thoughts on the future? Not so much of streaming, right? Because we know that that's not going anywhere. But the physical media, is it going to disappear? Is it going to just kind of just become a more boutique thing and hang around? What are your hopes and what are your realities when you think about that?
I mean, I think eventually it'll end up being more of a boutique thing. But I mean, you got to remember, or you got to keep in mind, I mean, people have been talking about the death of physical media for years, and it's still here. And, they're still making DVDs. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's
and
like
pretty prominently in small towns like mine. I mean, there's more DVDs than anything.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't think physical media will ever go away. It'll probably continue to shrink and become more of a boutique thing. And retailers will probably go, well, let's save space and not have that media section anymore, but we'll still offer them on our website, kind of deal. So I don't see physical media going away in the near future. I mean, eventually it probably will, but I think there will always be the boutique stuff out there, because I mean, you've got so many companies like Arrow and Scream Factory and Vinegar Syndrome and Severin Films that are clearly making money. So there's clearly a big business for what they do. It's niche, but it's making money. So
yeah, I mean, when you think about a movie that just came out not long ago, Dolly Dearest, I know people that wanted that movie, and Piz, I think the slipcover special deal, I think it sold out in a day. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how many thousands of copies there were. I would imagine as maybe 3,000 copies or so for those limited runs with the slipcovers. So there's certainly people out there, I think what's interesting to me, Piz, is, we talk about the death of this and the death of that. Piz, when I go to my Walmart, the vinyl section is twice as big as the CD section now. And that's really cool. But what does that say about you? What do you think that says about our culture? Do you think making everything disappear into thin air and being information such as streaming and stuff, do you think that at a certain point people just start wanting to have something again that they can hold and experience?
Yeah, and I mean, I think the vinyl is a good example, I think, of, it was a format that died, much like Blu-ray could die eventually, but it'll end up being resurrected at some point, because there's nostalgia there and everybody loves, retro stuff. And, so I think that, records and vinyl is a very good sort of example of, what's old is new again, and what was dead is now very much alive and flourishing.
I wonder if there are more vinyl sold than CDs in 2019 and 2020.
I would imagine it's very. I would think so, actually. Yeah.
Also, that goes back to what we were talking about. You said with all these boutique labels and all this competition, which to me sounds like it breeds sales if there's so much competition.
Hmm.
There's companies like Waxwork and companies
Hmm.
like Mondo that are doing all these vinyl pressings of horror
Hmm.
movies,
Hmm.
and some of them, like we talked about, there's some of them are bad horror movies, but dang it, the music's good and people will buy them. So it's
Hmm.
just really, it's a strange. The world is very strange to me in that sense because in one room like you have, there is probably so much technology, but also things that are reminiscent of the past. All these nice high definition movies of things like you were talking about not long ago, Angel, which are these long lost horror movies, from the '80s. So it's a really weird. It's a really weird. I don't know the word I'm trying to find, but it's a really weird just world we're in right now, I think. And it's going to be interesting to see what 20 years looks like from now. Who knows if we're still going to be buying Blu-rays. But with 4K, do you think that's really going to catch on in terms of Blu-ray or in terms of DVD for that matter? Because I don't know if you think DVD is still the main, what's the main playing device in everybody's homes, but let's just say Blu-ray. Do you think 4K is going to catch on?
I don't know. I mean, to have true 4K, I mean, you can't just have the disc. You've got to have a 4K television, and you've got to have a 4K Blu-ray player. So, I mean, I think a lot of people may buck, making that jump because they don't want to buy a new TV, they don't want to buy a new player. Um, I remember the arguments for not jumping to Blu-ray from DVD. Well, I can't tell that much of a difference, and I don't want to have to buy a new player, and DVD is fine with me. All those people have at this point, I'm sure, jumped to Blu-ray, but I don't know if they'll jump to 4K really.
Yeah. I don't know that it's going to be if it's going to catch on fully
And
myself.
and with 4K, I mean, it really kind of depends on the movie, because I've seen some older movies that have gotten the 4K treatment, and yeah, they're a little clearer, they're a little crisper, but I don't know if it makes that much of a difference.
That's what's interesting, I think, is if you invest in the player, which what I did, I don't know if you did this with your 4K player. I invested in the one that has the streaming services because it says it does upscale as much as it can with a
Mhm.
lot of the movies that can stream. So if I can stream a really high def movie and get that extra bump from it, well, that's worth it to me. But I don't know about you, Piz, but I certainly have bought a number of 4Ks where some of them I had the wow factor, like
Mhm.
Casino, and then other ones Zombieland 2 Double Tap, and I realized I don't think this looks any better than the Blu-ray because it came with the Blu-ray, and of course
Mhm.
I put it in the 4K player. And I think if you have one or two bad impressions, you could
Mhm.
stop buying them. So I
Mhm.
think that's interesting. I don't know. And then you've got these Blu-ray companies that are doing 4K scans. Where does the madness end?
Yeah,
You know.
yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah, I think it just depends on the movie. I'm kind of interested to see Jaws in 4K. I mean, I love Jaws so much. I've got that pre-ordered on 4K. What else did I have? I think I've got something else pre-ordered on 4K. I don't remember. But yeah, I've had those moments with 4K where I've watched the movie and I've just been like, "Whoa, God, that looks so good." And then there are others where it's just like, I don't know if this, I don't see that much of a difference.
right.
But when you do see that, when you have that wow moment with 4K, it is pretty stunning, I think.
And as far as audio goes, isn't there another layer of audio that you get, or not layer, but I can't, I don't really know the technical terms, but isn't there an extra level of audio that you can get from 4K?
I think that I believe so. Yes.
Yeah. All right, well, guys, we're gonna have one more question for Piz. If Piz is okay with it, we'll take a viewer question. If you guys want to drop some, nothing inappropriate, please. But Piz, we'll start with this last question. I want to go back to YouTube. This is what I see, Piz. In 2020, horror YouTubers are everywhere. Specifically, the horror YouTubers, as far as reviewing movies and getting all these Blu-rays and movies and things like that. and you see a lot of the same thing right now. It seems like it's a lot of, and I'm not hating on this. It's just everybody wants to try to get ahead. Everybody wants to try to break through the mold, so to speak, to try to get some follow up and get people to keep watching them and things like that. And you see a lot of these people doing all these, sharing their videos here, sharing them there, just sharing everything everywhere, and that kind of stuff. But I wanted to ask you, what do you think is important for somebody watching this video who wants to try to break out of the mold and to, I guess, to gain traction? Is there certain things that you think somebody should do, or do you think there is no magic thing to do? It's just grinding and doing the best videos you can.
I think it's grinding, but there's also a lot of luck that falls into it. I think if you ask any big YouTuber, and I've heard a lot of big YouTubers say this, luck. A lot of it is just luck. Um, but I mean, ultimately, what's going to separate you from the crowd is you, your personality, and what you have to say. Um, I mean, of course, I always say to people who are starting out, invest in a good quality microphone and invest in a good quality camera, because if somebody clicks on your video and in the first 5 seconds the video quality's crap and the audio quality's crap, they're gone. You could be giving the most brilliant dissertation about Phantasm that's ever been recorded, but if it sounds awful and if the video and audio quality is awful, nobody's going to watch it. So invest in a good camera, invest in a good microphone, but be yourself, because that's ultimately what people are going to. Because I mean, really, when people are watching your videos, they're investing their time in you, and time is very precious. So I mean, your personality and what you have to say needs to shine through. That's ultimately what people sort of latch onto. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people like to watch your videos for you. I mean, if the
Right.
movie's great, what you say, that's great. But, we get to know you through your videos. And I
Mhm.
think, Piz, you've been on YouTube for a long time. You didn't get to 40,000 subs last week. I mean, it's been a long haul. When
Mhm.
did you start YouTube?
2009, sometime in 2009, I believe. I think that was my
So,
first
yeah.
video.
And did you ever have moments where you got out of it? Where you just stopped up? Was there a big gap between two videos?
I think the biggest gap, I think I may have taken a few months off at one point. I can't imagine it being more than a couple of months, maybe 2 or 3 months. I took a break. That was very early on, though. But and that's another thing with YouTube, is that when if you're starting a channel today, YouTube sort of looks at you as the enemy. You're not proven that you're a good player, as they like to say. Um, so your videos are not going to show up in searches. Your videos are not going to show up in any kind of recommendation feeds. You're going to put a video out there that you're going to put a lot of time and effort into, and it's going to get 4 views. And you're going to say to yourself, what's the point? I'm putting all this time and effort into this content and nobody's seeing it. You have to grind. And today on YouTube, you have to grind really hard. I didn't like networking is important. I didn't necessarily network. I wasn't trying to, get in touch with bigger YouTubers and say, hey, let's collaborate, or can you shout me out, or anything like that, which
How
maybe if I.
important how important is that nowadays? Because you see a lot of that now, and you see a lot of problems with that now, and a lot of it just turns into people just not want to talk to each other because there is a lot of, oh, you have to do for me and I'll do for you, but if you don't, I'm gonna not talk to you anymore. Do you
Well,
see that as? Yeah.
I see it as a lot of people just don't do it, even if it's a channel that they really like. Why, I do see, YouTubers collaborating, but I don't know, it's odd now, or it's been odd for a little while, where I see channels that are in the same subscriber range collaborating, but like, a channel like a channel that's got 100,000 subscribers, even if they really like say my stuff, they'll say, oh, well, this guy's only got 40,000 subscribers. He can't help me. I can only help him. So why bother? I
Right.
love his stuff. I'll watch his stuff, but I'll never, nothing beyond that. So I think there's a lot of that going on too. I think there's a lot of fear of like, well, what if I help this guy out and he surpasses me? You know what I mean? Oh goodness. Um, I mean, I see that a lot, and that's made me really kind of. There's a lot of YouTubers that I would like to do things with, or to have come on. I mean, when I started the Sausage Factory, there were a couple of YouTubers who had slightly bigger channels who I considered to be YouTube friends. But when I asked them, hey, would you like to be a part of this show with me and some other cool YouTubers? Never responded. Matter of fact, I've never heard anything from them since.
So they big leagued you.
Pretty much, yeah. And again, these were people who at the time I considered to be, YouTube friends. But, they had 20,000, 30,000 more subscribers. And they're just like, no, why would I want to do anything with you? You're not going to help me. I'm only going to help you. So that kind of turned me off to even really wanting to reach out to, a larger channel and say, hey, do you want to do something? Do you want to do a collab? Do you want to come on the Sausage Factory? Do you want to do a stream with me and just shoot the bull? Because there's a good possibility you're not even going to get a response. And I mean, that's kind of sad, really.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about something lighter real quick, Piz. I had a question that I wanted to ask. Top 3 moments for you on your YouTube channel, whether it be a special live stream, whether it be a certain video that you uploaded. What are some of the proudest moments for you on the channel?
Honestly, some of my favorite moments aren't video related. Really, I'll get. I got a message from a guy a couple of years ago who lives in Australia, and he was thanking me for the videos and for just. He was telling me that he lives with a lot of pain. I don't remember what his exact diagnosis was. Maybe it was fibromyalgia. I don't recall. But he said, I live with a lot of pain, 24/7 pain, and your videos are an escape for me.
Wow.
And I've gotten other messages like that throughout the years from people who have said, I've got this going on in my life, but, your videos, kind of help me. And that really, it's very flattering. And also it reminds me, because I think on some level, I still just think I'm doing these videos for like I don't even think I realize the reach that they possibly could have. I'm just a guy sitting in a man cave talking about a horror movie. And I don't realize that, this video could get 50,000 views or 100,000 views, and it could be viewed by people all over the world. But it's moments like that where you're like, holy crap, maybe you are doing something good, and maybe, what you're doing has purpose, or, I don't know. I don't want to make it sound like I'm curing some disease or anything, but if it does help somebody through a bad situation or whatever the case may be, I think that's awesome. And that reminds me of the reach that, you can have on this platform.
Tell me about the experience of doing that Silent Night, Deadly Night stream with the 2 gentlemen who were in the movies.
Oh yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was great fun. That's definitely a highlight. Actually, I'd told Eric the idea, because I'm friends with Eric Freeman. I speak to him on a fairly regular basis. And I said, hey, can you maybe hook me up with Robert Brian Wilson so I can throw him this idea of doing, the live commentary, and I want you there too. And one day out of the blue, Robert Brian Wilson emailed me and said, hey, here's my number, give me a call. And I called him, and he goes, hey, can I call you back here in just a minute? I'm actually on my roof right now hanging Christmas lights. So I called Robert Brian Wilson,
The irony
while he
there.
was on his roof hanging Christmas lights. I thought that was so funny. But that was a lot of fun. And I mean, I love Eric to death, and Art Brian Wilson is really cool too. And that was a lot of fun. That was
Were
a lot
your
of fun.
nerves running before that, or were you pretty calm? Because you knew Eric pretty well, but what about the other guy? Did you know
I,
him?
I knew,
Any
I
good?
knew, I knew Eric pretty well, and I'd spoken to Robert Brian Wilson 2 or 3 times over the phone before then, and emailed back and forth with him. So I mean, it wasn't felt like I knew him fairly well, and he's just super nice guy.
Yeah.
Another uh, the Crystal Lake fundraisers that I did for Camp Novi Bosco, those have been a lot of fun. Probably one of my favorite moments from that is when Larry Zerner just popped on out of the blue. I think Peter Brackey had sent him the link to join us, and he just popped on out of the blue and was just like, "Hey, what's up? How's it going?" And somebody said something to him about juggling, and he goes, "Oh, wait, hold on, guys." And he went and he got balls and he juggled for us live
Oh wow.
during the marathon. I
I
thought
don't
that
remember
was,
this.
yeah. I took a picture of it, and there's like, it's me, Jason Parker from the Friday the 13th.com website, or Friday the 13th franchise website,
Franchise.com.
Peter Brackey, and Vincente DeSanti.
Wow.
And like, we're all of us are just like watching him juggle live on stream. It was really cool. It was really cool. And then he juggled and he was like, "All right, I'm out." And
Oh
so
wow.
that was pretty fun. Those have been really cool because I mean, we were able to raise a nice little amount of money for the camp, and had some really cool guests. Had Deborah Voorhees on. Had oh geez, what's his name?
What character?
Uh, Junior Ron. Gosh, I can't remember his last name, but he was super cool to hang out with and talk about part 5. We had Tom McLaughlin on to talk about part 6.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he was really cool. Who else did we have on? Michael Felsher was on because Michael Felsher had worked a lot with Danny Steinman before he passed away, so he had a lot of Danny Steinman stories.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, and that was a lot of fun.
So, and it's amazing, Piz. All this stuff has been possible through YouTube. So
I know exactly.
I saw. We'll do one question right here. We had a good viewer question from a buddy of ours, the Obsoletionist. That's
I don't
Gibbs,
like.
right?
I don't like him that much. I wouldn't call him a buddy.
Okay, fair enough. This is a good question because it makes me think of what you've been doing a lot. Now, granted, this could be a COVID thing, but he says, do you see live streaming on YouTube becoming the new normal as opposed to recorded content?
No, I don't see it becoming the new normal, but I mean, I see it. I mean, live streaming is just a lot of fun, and it was something that I was doing a lot, especially in like the first weeks of this whole self-isolation thing. It's just a really fun way to be spontaneous, and you're just kind of hanging out with people in real time and shooting the bull, and it can be really fun. I don't think it's going to replace
Not for you anyway, because Piz, I see a lot of channels that all their videos are streaming. Now I don't know if that's a convenience thing, because once they set up and do their thing, there is no editing. It's basically there it is.
Yeah.
But well, it's just been really fun, Piz. I don't want to take up too much of your time. We're going on 50 minutes.
No, I mean, that's fine. If there's any other questions in the chat, please, let's
I think
knock 'em
somebody
out.
somebody did ask you. This is from Dylan Prell. He says, Pizowell, what are some of the movies you watch during Halloween time?
Good question. I always watch like Halloween and Halloween 2. Those are staples, of course. Usually Halloween 4 I'll slip in there sometimes. Halloween 6 occasionally. I actually, to be perfectly honest, I'm more kind of I'm more about holiday around Christmas time. I'm far more kind of I'm not sure what the word is. I'm far more hardcore about making sure I cover all of the holiday horror staples during the holidays than I am covering horror movies during Halloween, to be honest with you. But to answer the question, those Halloween films, I love watching like Dark Knight of the Scarecrow around Halloween time. Um, Let me see what are some other ones I usually watch around that time. Um,
I'm just a little upset that when you talking about all the Halloween movies, you skipped three. It broke my heart a little bit.
oh well, yeah, three. I mean, I pretty much throw them all in there during the course of the month, with the exceptions of like H2O and Resurrection, and of course the Rob Zombie stuff. So I usually cover them all
Yeah.
during October. But as far as Halloween night is concerned, I mean, I love the look and feel of Halloween 2 and Halloween 6 particularly. I think Halloween 6 just nails that Midwest fall kind of vibe. And I
Sure.
love the opening moments of Halloween 4.
Oh, it's
Just
amazing.
the opening moments of that film. I mean, I love the film period, but the opening moments are just so great.
Are you a producer's cut guy or a theatrical cut guy?
A producer's cut guy.
Me too, Piz. I mean, if you're gonna tell me this is a cult, let's just go all the way. Don't tease me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right,
I
Piz.
mean,
You want to take another question?
sure.
We got a
I've got plenty of time, so
Okay,
as
we
many
got
as
a
possible.
okay, cool. We got a great one from Psycho Solomon. He says, "Do you feel horror is running out of fresh ideas because of the reboots and so on? Do you think they need fresh mind people like you and Christian, thank you very much, or even myself, to make new movie ideas? What do you think on that, Piz?"
I think they've been out of fresh ideas for a long time, and they just want to keep going back to the well over and over and over again. Um, we had the remake era, and now we're having the reboot era where they're going back and they're rebooting everything that was remade, and we're getting the Black Christmas remake. And I mean, they're working on some kind of Hellraiser reboot and a Candyman reboot, and I can't get excited for any of that stuff. I just can't. I'm far more excited for a movie like The Lodge or Boot, which is a movie that's on Amazon Prime right now. It's called Boot Part One: The Ghost Ship. Very good movie.
Yeah, shout out to
Um,
Visited by Voices One Lauren because he messaged me today and said, "Make sure you watch it, man." So
yeah, I'm far more excited to watch movies like VFW or what's the one I wrote some down so I could remind myself to watch them. Where's my list here? Uh, The Lodge, We Summon the Darkness,
mhm.
VFW.
I love VFW.
Those are movies that I mean I'm far more excited about watching because they look like original ideas and not remakes and reboots and all this garbage. You know what I mean?
Can I play devil's advocate to this question?
Sure.
Is that our fault that they keep rebooting movies? And I say ours as in the general public because if these movies stop making money, when they stop making them,
Well, and a lot of them have stopped making money, but they just I think that the establishment or whatever you want to call it, they look at a movie with a name that they know horror fans will be attracted to, and they go, okay, just run with it. Um, they don't. I don't know. They feel like it's a far more surefire method to make money than an original idea. Um, I mean, that's kind of sad, really.
and that would be safe to say that you think maybe we should put that more in the studios then, not really the general audience's
Yeah,
fault.
yeah. I don't. I, yes, exactly. That's why a company like A24 is doing such exciting stuff and original stuff. You know what I
Right.
mean? The Lighthouse, for instance. I mean that's a movie no other studio would ever touch. I don't think. Hereditary was great. I wasn't a fan of Midsummer, but I mean, they were doing something different. It wasn't a remake. It wasn't a reboot. It wasn't a part 5 or a 6 or whatever. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I'll give them credit for they're trying to do something new and fresh and different.
Okay. Piz, you want to take another one?
Sure.
All right, here we go. Bradley Pierce says, "What was the first horror movie moment that made you realize you were falling in love with horror?"
That's a really good question. Honestly, it was probably. I mean, it's probably Friday the 13th Part 7. I mean, honestly, when my stepdad came home one evening with that movie on VHS, and I remember my mom objecting and him being like, it's just a movie. The kid wants to watch it. Let him watch it. And I just, that opened the floodgates, really. Because up to that point, I mean, if I wanted to rent a movie, I had to take the video box to mom, and she had to peruse it and, make sure it didn't look too ghastly or gory. So, like, all of the franchises were out of the question. The Lost Boys was fine. There were a couple other movies in there that were fine, but that opened the gates for me. And the first time I saw Texas Chainsaw Massacre was a big moment too, because I think that was the first time I went, whoa. So a horror movie can be more than just, a body count, or, it can affect you in different ways. The first time I watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I was just blown away by that film.
Do you remember the age you were?
I want to say I was in middle school. I don't remember exactly, but I want to say I was in middle school. But I mean, up to that point, I'd seen all the Fridays and all the Nightmares and all the Halloweens, but there was something about Chainsaw that was just so visceral and raw, and I don't know, it just affected me like none of them had.
Let me ask you this: greatest horror movie ever made? Texas Chainsaw Massacre,
In my
1974?
opinion, yes.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Let's see. This one comes from. I don't want to skip anybody. Austin. He says, Pizowell, worst horror sequels you've ever seen.
Worst horror sequels.
Troll 2? Or that's the best horror sequel you've ever seen.
Troll 2. Love Troll 2. I mean, what comes to mind immediately is those direct-to-video Hellraiser movies. Those are just so difficult for me to get through because they all kind of run together. Hell Seeker and Hell World and Hell Toilet and Hell whatever. All of them just run together, and they're just I can't stand them. I mean, I thought It Chapter 2 was pretty bad. I was really disappointed with It Chapter 2. So that would be right up there, I think. Those are the ones that jump to mind.
Yeah. I'm sure there's plenty we could talk about. The
there's
list could
plenty,
be
I'm
endless,
sure.
right?
Yeah.
Speaking of Hellraiser, Piz, I want to ask you this. Somebody asked about, let's see. I'm going to try to get the person's name so I can shut them out. Austin again. He says, Piz, do you have any hope for the new do you have any hope for the new Hellraiser series?
I'm actually more excited for that than for what the movie is supposed to be about. Because I mean, the Hellraiser TV series could, I mean, potentially, I mean, every episode could be, somebody new seeking out the box, and the links they'll go to get the box, and then of course they open the box and all hell breaks loose. I see far more potential in the TV series than I do in the reboots.
Right. All right, let's take a couple more, Piz, if that's fine with you. We got our good friend Jillian, all the way from Canada. She says, Pizza, what 5 movies do you want to see get a Blu-ray that have not had one?
Good question. Fright Night 2, Psycho Cop. Those two definitely jump to mind really quick. Actually, I was watching a couple of movies recently. Killer Party. I'd like to see a Killer Party Blu-ray. I think that'd be fun. Jeez. Well, how about Hello Mary Lou Prom Night 2?
That is one. It's streaming on Shudder, and they're smart for getting it because people love that movie.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. That's 4. I mean, what's great is that there's been so many movies over the past few years that had not made that jump, that are now on Blu-ray and have really good Blu-rays. So, I mean, luckily that list has narrowed down, but there's still a lot of great movies out there that have not even made the jump from VHS yet. So, I mean, That's four. Is four good enough? I can't think of really any others off the top of my
I'm sure
head.
Jill will appreciate that.
Yeah.
Mr. Zomb asks, he says, Piz, first horror movie you saw in the theater, and how old were you?
It was Jason Goes to Hell.
Oh
And
wow,
yeah,
that sounds
I
like a
was
good movie experience, right?
it was extremely good. That movie came out in what, 93? Was it 90?
1993.
So I was either 12 or 13. I've told this story before, but I'll tell it again because I love it. I actually got to tell it to Adam Marcus when I met him a couple of years ago at a convention. It was after church one Sunday night, and all of us in the church youth group talked one of the parents to take us to the theater to watch Jason Goes to Hell. So we went from church straight to hell. And the mother, all of the guys went and watched Jason Goes to Hell. The mother and her daughter, the guy's sister, went and watched Hocus Pocus.
Okay.
And I remember the theater being packed. I remember it being an extremely lively crowd. Every time there was a kill, everybody was just, having a great time. And when the glove came up out of the earth to grab the mask and pull it down into hell, I just remember like my head bouncing off the ceiling of the place. It like the whole place just erupted and everybody was just like blown away. And that was the talk all the way home in the van was, who's going to win? Freddy versus Jason. It's finally happening. Oh my God, Freddy versus Jason. So that's still my number one favorite movie going experience. That was so much fun.
Piz, the emotion and the thought process you had about Jason Goes to Hell in that theater when you left compared to your thoughts now on Jason Goes to Hell. I want to know.
I still like the movie. I still think the movie is a lot of fun. It's got some flaws, but I think that's the perfect example of with a movie like Friday the 13th or with a series like Friday the 13th. And you can say this about Halloween or really any of the big series, there's a point where all the fans go, oh, it's just the same thing over again. And what about something new? What about something different? Okay, well, here's something different. Here's a different take on it. And for the most part, people went, that sucked. What are they thinking? Why are they changing it? You know what I mean? So you can't, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. But I still like Jason Goes to Hell a lot. It's still one I can pull off the shelf and watch just about any time. It's fun. It's gory. It's got some good laughs. I like it.
All right. Let's see. We had a really good one I wanted to see. First off, Psycho Sullivan, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. Have a good night. It looks like, let's see. Okay, Zach Livingston. He asks, Piz, what's your favorite collector's edition, I guess, in general, of anything? What is your favorite, collector's edition movie, whatever that you have?
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, how's it going, Zach? Favorite collector's edition.
I'm sure you have a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot. I've got a lot of really good collector's editions, actually. One of my favorites would have to be the Grindhouse release of Pieces. I remember being really excited for when that came out because I love Pieces, and that was a loaded edition. And I was blown away by it. I love that one. I love the two Silent Night, Deadly Night Collector's Edition releases that Scream Factory released. Those are both fantastic. And of course, Scream Factory's Halloween 2 and 3 releases were both just absolute home runs. Right. So it's difficult to narrow it down to just one, but those would be like, I don't know, my top 4 or 5.
Excellent. Not that I want to make this about me, but one of my favorites is the Creepshow 2 hard box I've got from Arrow. Do you have that one as well?
Yeah.
That one's going for a pretty penny online too. My buddy Andrew, he gets mad whenever I show it because I think he's just got the standard DVD one. That was a pre-order for me. So let's see. We'll take one more, guys, and we're gonna wrap it up. It's been a lot of fun. I've never said this the whole stream, but if you love me, drop a like on the video. If you love Piz, make another channel. Sign into that one. Drop another like as well. So. Oh, somebody actually said something, Piz, about Let me find the comment so I can be courteous. Dylan Perrell, I wanted you to see this, Piz. He says The Keep needs an official Blu-ray.
Yep, that one totally skipped my mind. I agree. The Keep needs a good Blu-ray release. Yes, Michael Mann needs to, whatever hostility he's got toward that film, just let it go. Give us your 3.5 hour director's cut. Let's get it on Blu-ray with a nice audio commentary from Michael Mann. I would love that, and a separate soundtrack CD. That would be great.
Excellent. All right, Piz, let's do this one right here. This is a good one because I don't know the answer to this, to be quite honest with you. Austin Wilcutt comes in with a really cool question. Piz, do you think there will be more Halloween films after Halloween Ends is released? Will it ever end? Lol.
No, it will. As long as Michael Myers makes money, he'll never die. And yes, there will be more Halloween movies after Halloween Ends. I give them 3 to 5 years after Halloween ends, it will have a new Halloween film.
Halloween Begins?
Maybe.
A new beginning?
Who knows? Yep.
Piz, did you see, real quick, I just want to make a little bit of chatter here. Did you see when Jason Blum got asked, it was probably in passing, like on a subway or something, and this was a reporter, hey, Jason, how does the new Halloween Kills movie look? Oh, it looks pretty good. And then somebody made a post, says, Jason Blum says Halloween Kills looks pretty good.
Yeah. I thought that was pretty funny. I thought, how's your big marquee movie looking this? It'll be all right. Yeah, it'll be okay. Just don't go into it with too high expectations. It'll be all right.
Oh, my goodness. Piz, are you enjoying are you a fan of the Drive-In show on Shudder? Joe Bob fan? I'm sure you were a Monster Vision fanatic back in the day.
I was a big Monster Vision fan, but honestly, I've not tuned into any of his stuff on Shudder. Well, I wanted to tune into the very first one, but they had so many issues that night, it just never happened. And I know they've got those issues ironed out, but I've just not tuned in.
Yeah. Well, they keep, you can see them after the fact as well. I'm wearing my shirt here. I'm a big fan. They're not paying me anything to say this, but it's really fun. If you like the old one, I would assume you would like it, because I think Joe Bob came in and says, what were we going to do for the show? And the crew said, we're going to do Monster Vision. He goes, no, what are we going to update? What are we going to change? Nothing. We're doing Monster Vision. So pretty cool stuff.
Well, you got to remember, too, I mean, I loved Monster Vision, but I was more of a USA Up All Night guy.
Up All Night, Rhonda Shear.
Yeah.
Beautiful young lady.
Yeah.
All right, Piz, let's end this with a bang, okay? And thank you for the 42 people here. This has been a pleasure. Piz, thank you so much for giving me your time. It really does mean a lot to me.
You're welcome.
Let's end with a bang from a good buddy of yours all the way. I forgot where you're from, Jay. Here we go, Piz. I'll just let you read this and answer this how you want.
F, Marry, Kill, Prom Night franchise, Puppet Master franchise, Hellraiser franchise. I'd marry the Prom Night franchise. I'd kill the Puppet Master franchise, and I'd F the Hellraiser franchise, because I think it'd be a good time. It'd be a wild time. So there you go.
Oh my goodness. So there we go, guys. This has been the trial of Pizowell. This has been a really fun night. I'm sure maybe down the road we'll do a round 3 with Piz. We'll have some more questions for him. Guys, silly thing to say, but if you're watching my channel, which God bless you for that, I'm sure you're watching Piz's. But if you're catching this and you don't know who Piz is, he is the guy that probably why a lot of us are on. I'm one example of why I'm on YouTube, and I'm a Pizowell light. I pretty much do the things he does because I love what he does. He was an inspiration. So if you haven't checked out his channel, for goodness sakes, you'll love it. So, Piz, thank you again for being here. Thanks for everybody for joining in. And if you're watching this after the fact, I appreciate you listening to this stream. This is Christian Signoff. And Piz, any last words for the people?
No, yeah, it was a lot of fun. Always a good time. And yeah, we'll have to do it again very soon. Great questions. And yeah, thanks for tuning in.
Okay. All right, guys. Y'all have a great night. Stay safe. Hopefully we'll get through this COVID stuff soon. And we'll get back to normal, whatever that is. So everybody have a great night.
Yeah. Take care, guys.